As the years go on, you begin to realize that while doing stuff on your own can be great, the best thing for any person would be to have a great set of friends behind you. So that's what I really wanted to look into. How reliable are the friends of the Joestars? How much does the protagonist have to carry? But let's do some prefacing beforehand. The first thing to consider is the intention behind our main character. From Jonathan to Jotaro, the first three parts of JoJo produced Superman-like characters, as that was what was in during that time. So you probably shouldn't be too surprised with our outcomes. Second, strength isn't enough and won't tell the entire story because a team is more than just a bunch of powerhouse characters. With that being said, let's start. In Phantom Blood, Jonathan Joestar's main team was extremely small when compared to the other parts, as it was only really Speedwagon and William Zeppeli. But numbers don't mean everything, as William Zeppeli alone is the reason why Jonathan was able to contend with Dio. Not only had he trained with Jonathan, but he's also the reason why he knows Hamon. That was easily the largest contribution in the entirety of Phantom Blood, because if Jonathan had yet to learn technique to be able to fight Dio, then, we wouldn't even have future JoJo parts. Speedwagon hadn't been able to do the absolute most when Jonathan was alive, but oh my goodness, he has the Speedwagon Foundation. The Speedwagon Foundation is everything to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Did you need info? It probably came from them. Do you need transportation? They got you covered. A place to put your pillarman? Over there. They're also the reason why everyone isn't broke. So yeah, while Speedwagon couldn't put, the hands on Dio, he became the structural foundation of everything that these JoJos, I guess except for Giorno, are allowed to do. And except for Josuke, actually. But as for clutch moments, Zeppeli had saved Jonathan in the fight against Tarkus. Phantom Blood team in general, small, but these are some strong contenders. Next up is Battle Tendency. This team consisted of Caesar Zeppeli and Lisa. Caesar had been an alright rival to help Joseph level up. I guess you can give that more to Loggins and Messi, or whatever the other one's called. And Lisa was an amazing mentor that helped Joseph into the fighter that we know, that's a huge thing. She had whooped him into shape. And as a clutch moment, Caesar had been there for Joseph to help against Cars, by helping him up with the Hamon Icicle stuff. But he also, and pardon my phrasing for it, I know that this is going to sound wild, but he completely fed by running up on Wamu. Because no matter how you cut it, going in alone was one of the dumbest moments in the history of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for any character. As for any large contributing stuff, I don't think Lisa being Joseph's mom counts as, team stuff, because it's just like, oh, hey, that doesn't really play into that. Grand scheme of it, clutch moments, they might not be there. Joseph really plays into his whole main characterness, and no one else really matches up with him. Now with Stardust Crusaders, you got a great set of people that are down for each other. Oh, my heart. And while we may not see a lot of people supporting Jotaro, they support each other, which in turn supports Jotaro too. Avdol and Kakyoin are the knowledgeable members that help mediate any internal group conflict that Polnareff most likely caused. But who here has saved Jotaro? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider saved. But Kakyoin had saved Jotaro and the group from Tower of Grey, and that wasn't any sort of questionable thing. That did happen. The group worked together to defeat Steely Dan. I guess you can kind of count that one. Kakyoin also stopped Death 13. That was great. That was necessary. Iggy is the reason why Jotaro was able to close the gap between him and Duel. He didn't want to, but it happened. Talon's T. Darby got scammed by Joseph. That was great. Avdol, Iggy, and Polnareff had to take on Vanilla Ice. Granted, it wasn't like a choice, but that's an excellent fight for Jotaro not to be involved in. It sounds like cope, I'm not even gonna lie to you. And lastly, Polnareff saved Jotaro from Dio, figuring out his current state and him laying down and all that. Joseph was also the one that was tapped into the Speedwagon Foundation, which helped with everything. But yeah, you could also count him trying to tell Jotaro that Dio stops time. Like, that kind of worked, but I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, it could have helped, but Jotaro also stopped time too. It's a whole mess. I don't know. But yeah, Jotaro is known for how much he carries, but everyone in here has had a key moment in the group when they were most needed. At least I think so. In part 4, I know this is going to be sort of messed up, right? But I have something to propose, okay? Please bear with me. Is Hayato Kawajiri a Morio warrior? I know. Please, I do. Trust me, I know. Yes, he doesn't have any connection with Josuke and them, besides the fact that Kira is a common enemy for them all. I get that, but no one else had taken the risk that Hayato has. That's just the case. And he did this regardless of if he knew them. That has to be like a friends at first contact sort of thing. But, you know, fine. You know, say that he's not for those that say he's not. Jotaro is still the best mentor, and Koichi is clutch. And hey, you know, Okuyasu, he swiped away that air bubble from Stray Cat and Killer Queen. So that helps, right? I think so. I would count it. I know. The thing is, when you look at all of the fights that had happened in Diamond is Unbreakable, it's clear that Josuke carries extremely hard. And honestly speaking, after I'd seen all these fights again, Josuke carries harder in part 4 than Jotaro does in part 3. It's a terrifying idea, right? It's a terrifying statement I just said. But honestly, I feel like if you really look at it, that really might be the case. I mean, he is the healer, so I guess that makes sense. Now in Golden Wind, we got a team full of gang-banging stand users ready to die like Biggie. You're also going to see a lot of teamwork here, especially when you consider the fact that Bruno is the actual leader of the group, so Giorno doesn't even have to have the responsibilities that the other Joestars have to. But let's go down the list, alright? Bruno is one of the best Ride or Die members you could ever have in your team, definitively. He has the knowledge of an Avdol and leadership that surpasses every Joestar. Mista is an actually knowledgeable character, but not like Kakyoin because he's actually kind of dumb instead, but he's smart where it matters in fights. He's like battle wise, essentially. Plus, even when in fear, his determination passes that. That characteristic had made the White Album fight possible. Narancia knows that he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's got more heart than most characters, and he was able to track anybody down and hold it down for the whole group. You also have Trish, who didn't even have to be a member of the team like that, but she clutched up in the Notorious B.I.G. fight and the Diavolo fight. Giorno has a whole team of hitters who are so about it. You know, we're also still counting Abakio, and we're also counting Fugo, because they actually do contend like that too. So honestly, those are some hard contenders too. And finally, the Stone Ocean Gang. Now see, here's what's pretty interesting, right? I feel like the Stone Ocean group usually has fights that force people to dive deep inwards and take care of stuff individually almost, but at the same time, it's done with their friends. It's like having an internal issue going on mid-fight and having your friend right there to help you. It's basically like having multiple White Album fights where your bestie clutches up. Jolene, she has to be the one to lock in and use her determination to end these fights, but everyone has a crucial moment that had helped the journey continue. Anasui has clutched up multiple times, and yeah, it's for Jolene, but you know, that's fine. You know, at least that priorities, right? Hermes is amazing. And I'm completely biased on her just in general. Whatever she does, I praise her for it because I'm in love with her. Weather Report does a great job, but oh my god, no other person in any other part has an Emporio. Well, except Hayato. But Hayato wasn't as tapped in as Emporio for keeping it a stack. And what I mean by that, for those that may not be familiar with my choice of words, my verbose or whatever it's called, Emporio is more tied into the grand story of Stone Ocean more than Hayato Kawajiri was for Diamond is Unbreakable. You can attempt to argue that, but I think it's true no matter how you cut it. And when it mattered the most, Emporio had the greatest and most incredible clutch of all time. no one else is like that. And wrapping it all up together. Now, considering all these factors and everything we've gone over, it's time to figure it out. I will also reference basketball team equivalents for each examples if I have to, or if I want to more so. So first, let's just get this out of the way. The battle tendency team is the worst. I'm sorry. You have to keep it a stack. It just is. If you're a Joseph fan, you're going to acknowledge that, like, yeah, you like Joseph and people weren't helping as much as Joseph. That's just the case. It's too top heavy and too reliant on one sole player who has to do the most work. The battle tendency team, get this, the battle tendency team is the equivalent of LeBron James and the 2007 Cavaliers. See, Joseph versus the Pillarmen individually definitely worked, regardless of how it happened and regardless of like how much people want to disagree with whatever the heck. I'm one of those people that disagree about the whole Cars thing because I think that he got cheaped out. But if all three were to fight with him against his team, you know, he's cooked because his team doesn't got it like that. Caesar doesn't have it like that. He sucks almost. Not even almost, for being real. Caesar's pretty damn annoying. But yeah, he literally was cooked when they had first met. And that's honestly why, you know, LeBron got swept by the Spurs because, you know, basketball and shown in this comparable thing, this is a team game in this instance. This part was a team game, except Joseph was playing solo mode. And it's amazing. After that, it depends on how you view Josuke's team. You know, if Hayato's in it, it's probably higher. If not, I'd put it right after the battle tendency team because Josuke did have to put in the most amount of work as a Joestar for everyone to prosper the way that they did. Like, for being real, but yeah. The Phantom Blood team also varies because if you keep it within Phantom Blood, that means the Speedwagon Foundation doesn't exist. But Phantom Blood's team spills over in a way that no other team does. Because the Speedwagon Foundation is as crucial to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as the words bizarre and adventure in the title. Because, you know, if you take those out, what do you get? JoJo's. Because that'd be it. There ain't no Bizarre Adventure because it would all be over without those guys. Except for Part 5. Part 5 would actually still happen. So where would you put this team? Above Part 2, if not counting the Speedwagon Foundation, but if you are, then it's above everyone else, I'd say. Then there's teams 3, 5, and 6. This is honestly a hard pick. I think Golden Wind and Stone Ocean have the most well-rounded teams. Because all right, here. The Part 3 team is sort of like the LeBron, Wade, and Bosch Heat. Why? Right? That's a good question. Why? Because while they are filled with hitters who excel at their jobs that they're given, they also got an old guy who's extremely clutch when he needed to be. I don't know why I said, like, however, like as if I was saying something else, but yeah. And yes, I'm comparing Joseph Joestar to Ray Allen. No, I will not be doing this again. I hope I won't. And the Part 5 team is like the 96 Bulls with Jordan, because you can remove Jorno from that team, and Jorno is Jordan in this instance, and it's actually a phenomenal team anyways. Like, you can do almost everything that you've been able to do before, you know? As a matter of fact, they were completely functional without Jorno, because remember, Jorno is the new member. That team was working perfectly fine. And, you know, you take Jordan out of that team, they was doing pretty freaking well altogether. And, you know, it's just the fact that when Jorno joined, that made the team matter the most when it was needed for them. And after that, there's the Stone Ocean team that has a lot of hitters, but it also has Emporio, who is the savior of the universe, the GOAT. He had the greatest clutch moment in all of JoJo because the rest of the team had been able to trust him like that. Well, they weren't really given a choice, but who was given a choice, or just more so the supportive role, was Jolene. Jolene trusted Emporio, and she's godlike for that. And actually, you know what? The Stone Ocean team, they might be the Golden State Warriors, come to think about it. Emporio, let's say Emporio's KD, which is a complete contrast, and it's a very hilarious comparison. Now, if you get what I'm saying or understand basketball, you'll get that I'm essentially saying that 3, 5, and 6 are top 3, 5 and 6 being top 2, and interchangeable on how you want to go about it. But there's a lot of debate on who goes above who. That's my, I'm probably giving it to 5 for full all-aroundness, but 6 in terms of clutch. If you don't know basketball, and I said a lot of nothing to you, that just sounds like that. But I also explained everything on the side, so hopefully I think that I've done enough to explain, and that was a good enough job for you. If not, I don't know, charge it to the game, dog. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.